Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server, but we are looking in the files at some new vehicles and also new missiles and other weaponry. The weaponry that may actually worry quite a lot of people, especially what is coming in for China. Maybe not this update, but definitely very soon. So what we're going to do in this video is show you some of the vehicles that are coming in. There's been a huge leak, by the way, of a ridiculous amount of vehicles. I'll probably cover that in another video because it doesn't pertain to what we can see with our eyes. So let's go through it, let's have a look and see what is kind of going on and all of the different things that are in the files in the dev server. Now remember, these vehicles might come to the game, they might not come to the game. They might come in the winter event, they might come in the next update, or they may take years to come or never come at all. So always take everything with a grain of salt that you see in the files, even on the dev server itself, because a lot of things change as stuff goes on. So let's get started. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get in there. So we have a bunch of British vehicles, a lot of British vehicles, and they're all basically the same, which is a little bit weird. They all have their own little differences, and we'll go through what those differences are. First of all, you can see in front of you a vehicle that we already have in the game. This is the Scimitar. The Scimitar is a light vehicle based off the CVRT chassis, which has been around for quite a long time in terms of Britain and used on a lot of vehicles in the game. But how about this? I raise you another one. This is the FV107 Scimitar Sabre, which is slightly different, and you could probably tell by the turret the slight difference between them. So just once again, this is the Scimitar, and this is the Sabre. Now, the difference is the turret. The Sabre is a mixture of not just the CVRT hull, which is what you see here, but also the turret of the Fox. So it still has the same gun, the good old 30mm L21 Radon, but it does have a slightly lower profile in terms of the turret, and also a few different little features that are here. So you can see this is the standard Scimitar, and this is the Sabre. So slightly different, a few extra boxes on it, and also just a slightly different turret. So that's cool to see. Wonder how that's going to turn up in the game. But don't worry, there's even more. Number one, we have this. Oh, what is this mess? This is the FV107 Scimitar BGTI Placan EPBA. And all I can say is we are going full Mad Max with this Scimitar. You can see that it seems to have some different optics on the top of it, and also a metric ton of slat armor all around it, just keeping it very, very fat. So once again, this is the standard Scimitar, this is the BGTI version. So mainly the optics, and also just a metric ton of additional armor to try and stop some chemical munitions coming in. But don't worry, that isn't the only Scimitar we have. We also have this one. This is the LEP, which I'm guessing is Life Extension Program, Placan. And once again, they've added just a bunch of additional kind of spaced armor on the sides of this thing to try and keep it alive in terms of the chemical munitions. So you have the standard Scimitar, you have the BGTI Scimitar, and then also you have the LEP Placan Scimitar. But don't worry, there's even more. There is another one, which is the mighty evolution of the Scimitar, which is straight Warhammer. This is the Scimitar Mark II. Now, the Scimitar Mark II, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen in game yet. I suppose it's not like a huge upgrade in terms of like actual things in War Thunder, but in real life it was a big upgrade. The whole point of the Scimitar Mark II was to give it more crew protection. So better anti-mine stuff, so basically a raised hull. You can see here on the vehicle, it's a lot taller than the standard Scimitar. This is the standard Scimitar. This is once again the Scimitar Mark II. So you can see like the suspension itself is a little bit raised. It also has much more armor around the sides of it. Once again, a ton of slat armor on it. And then this kind of area where you can put food, where a bunch of aerials are coming out of, therefore additional radio stations and also abilities to communicate. So kind of a commander setup, which is pretty fun. Also, they just made the vehicle a lot better in terms of efficiency. So, getting rid of empty space and adding in a bunch of different other things. The other thing they also did with the Scimitar Mark II is they improved the engine and transmission of this. So, they just made it a bit more efficient, kind of like what they've done with Challengers over time, where technically this thing still uses the Cummins BTA 5.9 diesel and also an automatic gearbox, but it does actually move around a little bit better, even with the additional armor. So the Scimitar Mark II mainly looked at crew survivability, did not improve the gun, so it's still a Raden, it's still that wonderful 30mm, but at the same time, it should be able to survive a few more shots in different things. What I kind of like about it is the fact that this piece of kind of mesh on the back is not straight, and it's just kind of sat there as an addition to survive on this thing. So yeah, you can get a Mad Max vehicle, which is just fantastic. Now, let's move on to the other stuff. So we have a bunch of Chinese bombs that we talked about. So there is a bunch of them coming in to China itself. You have the whole setup of these. These are the BG250s. So you have the ER version, which is the glide bomb version. And then also you have just a metric other ones, which are all around and really cool to see. You have the standard one, which is the LGB BG250A. You also have this, which is I want to see how this goes, but this is an IR version of that missile, so instead of it being lasered in, it is actually an IR version. So this one isn't on the dev server and should be pretty deadly when they decide to bring it in, because it can just kind of guide itself in instead of having to worry about other stuff. Another set of missiles which is on the dev server as well for the Chinese is the YJ-81 series. Now, the YJ-81s, these are anti-ship missiles, which shouldn't be too surprising. YJ-81s and then also YJ-83s. My bad. So this is the YJ-83. So you can see it does look slightly different than its other vehicle. So the YJ-81, I believe, might already be in the game. The YJ-83s are the new ones. So these are the ones wandering about, which are the anti-ship missiles that you will not know and love, because they are going to get very, very annoying. You can see with the different versions of them, basically you just have different ones which are designed for different things, whether it be different seeker heads or whether it be different kind of extensions, like how far they're supposed to go or how much they're supposed to kind of go through. You can see here, this one even has fins which move independently compared to some of the other ones which have different boosters on them and also different flight kind of trajectories. So this is an anti-ship missile, right? And they've been adding a bunch of these into the game. You know, Russia's been getting a bunch of them. Britain's been getting a bunch of them. It's not really like a huge deal to it. But there is another one which is in the game, which is a big deal, which is based off of the YJ-83. And this is where it gets a bit more serious. So you know how Russia has that wonderful missile, the KH-38MT. We all know and love it. You know, it's pretty much just annihilated the game for I don't even know how long. It's one of those which has been incredibly annoying to fight, right? This one right here. Hell of a booster, has, you know, all of the bells and whistles of being able to go after targets. Very, very annoying. Do you want to see another version of this, which is the Chinese version of this, in a way? This is the KD-88. Now, what this is it is a YJ-83, which is an anti-ship missile, which they have changed into a standoff ground attack missile. So this is, in effect, kind of a cruise missile that you lock onto targets with and annihilate them from range. And you can see it looks very similar to the anti-ship missile, apart from it's designed for hitting ground targets. Now, there is an IK version, there is an R version, and guess what? There's also a TV version. So you're going to get all of the different seeker types, whether it be TV whether it be, laser, whether it be stuff like standard IR, and they're going to be coming in, and they're going to be coming from a very long range, and they will not care what goes ahead. There is also an IIR version, which was developed of this thing, so yeah, that's going to be absolutely nuts, and it's going to be really, really obnoxious to deal with. So there's also a few other things that are in the files, but as I said, we'll talk about them in another video, because I don't think these are things that are actually going to get added into the game. These are just references to vehicles that we've seen previously, or new ones which are probably going to turn up in the future. So as always, thank you for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.